Was ist los? It's your German boy, and welcome back to Planetarian. Now, in the last episode, we finally got to finish our presentation despite the power going out, and now I honestly don't know what's gonna happen next, because I feel like, for the most part, our story's over. We fixed the projector, our power is out, so where are we going from here? There's only one way to find out, and it's by me hitting this button. I can still vividly see all those trails of stardust, like so many after images with my eyes closed. Right now, I was reluctant to open my eyes and return to the pitch black darkness.
お客様、本日の投影は終了しました。
I could hear precise, regular footsteps making their way to me.
お客様？お客様？
I could hear the whirring of micromotors, which told me that she was gently cocking her head in doubt once again. I thought about opening my eyes before she inevitably asked me, "Are you feeling ill?" But just then,
眠ってしまったんですね。
her voice shrank down to a whisper.
投影が終了したら、すべてのお客様を速やかに出口にご案内するのが原則なんですが、諸事情を勘案しますと、お客様にはこのまま朝までお休みいただくのが最善と考えます。
A chair beside me squeaked, and I could feel that she was sitting down. I continued to pretend to be asleep.
お客様の中には投影中に眠ってしまう方もたくさんいます。途中で泣き出してしまう子供のお客様もいます。そんな時には私が非常口から外にご案内して、投影が終わるまでお話をすることもあります。
As if she were reminiscing about old times, she lapsed into silence for a second.
お客様は今どんな夢を見ているのでしょう。私はとても嬉しいです。お客様は今どんな夢を見ているのでしょう。私はロボットなので夢は見ないのですが、でもきっとお客様は楽しい夢を見ているのだと思います。
She continued to talk by my side without end, as if she were telling a child a bedtime story. And I swore that I would remember. About the olden days, before the rain began to fall upon this world. I was a little boy then. The colony in which I lived was overcrowded, so there was a chronic shortage of drinking water, medicine, and food. But even so, the number of refugees that came every day was greater than the number of those who died. As the toxic contamination of this world at that point was concentrated in the southern hemisphere, during times when there was no smog, we were even allowed to go outside without any protective suits. I remember coming out of the airlock, held in somebody's arms. I think it was on a late midwinter night. It was pitch black outside and the air was freezing cold. The person who was holding me did not move an inch, just stood absolutely still in the darkness. The person merely looked skyward, forever staring into a gap in the thickly overlapping clouds. I had forgotten the sensation of that person touching my cheek, lost to frozen time. That person surely was my Mutter. There were other adults in the vicinity, but none of them stirred an inch, looking up at the empty sky as if they had been petrified. Were there stars in that sky? I swore I would remember. On the next day, the rain continued to fall. It was as if it had been that way since the beginning of the world.
プラネタリウムはいかがでしょう。どんな時も決して消えることのない美しい無休のきらめき。満天の星々が皆様をお待ちしています。
She continued to address the rain with her lucid voice as if nothing had changed.
こんにちは、お客様。ご気分はいかがでしょう。
When she noticed me, she gave me the same situation that she always did. Not particularly good, but not particularly bad either.
そうですか。もしもまだご体調が優れないようでしたら。
I'm fine.
はい、それは良かったです。お客様はこれからお帰りですか？
Yeah,
投影が不完全で本当に申し訳ありませんでした。心よりお詫び申し上げます。
well... I stuttered for no particularly good reason. Your projection wasn't bad.
お褒めいただき本当に嬉しいです。それにお客様にはいろいろと助けていただきました。本当にありがとうございました。
My grenade launcher, my waterproof cloak, and my backpack all felt several times heavier than usual. Because the humidity in the projection room had risen due to the shutdown of the air conditioners, I could again feel the dull ache from several old wounds. I did not even get a good night's sleep last night. I was all out of food, and I could feel that I would soon run out of strength. But none of these things were the cause of my current reflective mood. Say,
はい、何でしょう。
just what do you plan on doing from now on? I choked down the words that I'd been on the verge of saying. It was a completely senseless question. She would be waiting without question or complaint on this rooftop for more customers to come, for the staff members to return, and for the electricity to the projector to be restored. When her batteries were exhausted, she would connect her charging socket to its cable and simply close her eyes. And then she would never move again. That was the certain future that would visit itself upon her body in a matter of a few dozen hours at the most.
お客様？
Are you waiting for customers today, too?
いえ、今日は水曜日ですので、当デパートは全館休業となっています。
So you have the day off.
はい、
Awesome.
お休みです。
And how do you usually spend your days off?
はい、私には休暇は必要ありませんので、こまごまとした用事をこなしています。
Is that so?
先年の休業日には花束を作り直していました。8年ほど前に作ったものが壊れてしまいましたので。
Are you talking about that one you gave me?
はい、次は本物の綺麗な花束を用意してお待ちしています。
I see. That dubious bouquet of artificial flowers had been cleared away from my sight some time ago without even noticing. Which customer did you say I was again?
はい、お客様はちょうど249万7290番目のお客様です。
Since you gave me that bouquet, then I guess I'd better be the 2,500,000 as well.
はい、心よりお待ちしています。
The least I could do for her was to engage her one last time in the idle talk she seemed to love so much. When I was in the middle of repairing the projector, I certainly thought that this might not be too bad a place to die. But the feeling, which wasn't far from intoxication, was now vanishing like a fad from a bygone era. In its place was something that could be called a longing for others. I wanted to head towards the places where people still set foot and live their lives on this little planet, even if I should perish along the way. Yeah, there was a part of me that felt that way. Even if it amounted to nothing more than a mere instinct that, from the very beginning, had been embedded in every single one of those living things known as human beings. Even so, I'm heading off now.
はい、いろいろとありがとうございました。
If you would, send a prayer to the god of robots for me, that I might survive the trip back.
はい。
At that moment, she turned strangely serious. Her words, which had started off so cheerfully, trailed off into hesitance.
お客様、失礼ですが、お聞きしてよろしいでしょうか。
What is it?
お帰りの道中に危険がございますか？
If I said 9, then I would probably be lying. I answered, thus lengthening the idle chatter that I had grown so used to.
お帰りの際は電車にお乗りになりますか？
The subways aren't running. There's an electrical outage right now, remember?
はい、その通りでした。ただいま行動データベースに考慮事項として追加しました。
She replied thus. Even though she knew that there was an electrical outage, that did not mean she could necessarily string together the consequences of that situation.
それではバスかタクシーかお車でお帰りですか？
A car, probably. I'm thinking maybe a brown 04 DeVille, Northstar V8. Pretty solid. On my way in, during my battle with 3 other junkers at the rift in the quarantine wall, the engine of my motorcycle had been shot to pieces. The Land Rover that my 3 colleagues had come in was undamaged, but its 3 passengers were a completely different matter. A fitting end to a forced dealing. If I could successfully escape the city, then I could take that car and drive it to a nearby settlement. But if that car were out of gas, then I was destined to die a dog's death.
お車の駐車には公共駐車場をお使いですか？
Not quite.
お車を駐車されている地点はここから半径 3km 以内でしょうか？
Approximately, although I don't know exactly how. Her rapid succession of questions was obviously very different from the idle talks that she was so fond of. Why are you asking these things of me?
ただいまサポートセンターと交信中です。少々お待ちください。
She said with a dead serious voice, not answering my question. I could not help but feel that there was something in that voice that I never heard before. Hey.
わかりました。
I was just about to prod her for a second time when she returned to her usual smile.
お客様のお車まで私がご同行します。
Guys, we got a traveling companion. Let's go! Let's go! What did you just say?
はい、お客様のお車まで私がご同行しますと申しました。
How? Was I supposed to respond to this? Well, I know how I'm responding. As our reward, we get to actually take her home. That's actually kind of awesome. Quite fitting, actually, if I do say so myself, but Let's keep going. As I fretted over how to reply, she merely continued to smile.
お年寄りやご病気の方をエスコートするのは私たちロボットの役目です。どうぞお気になさらないでください。
Just who are you calling weak and elderly?
はい。
She cocked her head slightly.
申し訳ありません。ただいま大変失礼な発言をしてしまいました。本当に申し訳ありません。
And once again, that incessant flood of words. There had been times when I'd seen this kind of slapstick comedy on old-fashioned film reels. But when I first entered this planetarium, I came face to face with a genuine article. And now we're getting to take it with us, too. Are you all in there?
いいえ、少しだけ壊れています。
That is not what I'm talking about.
当街区が現在停電中でしたら、お客様お一人では道中に危険があると考えます。本日は休業日ですので、当デパートのお客様案内はお休みとなっております。現在、当館で稼働するロボットは私しかおりませんので、お客様を安全にお送りするのは私の義務だと考えます。
She only used the phrase I believe during times when she was absolutely certain that her notion was correct. In other words, I would literally not be able to move her otherwise, not even with a lever. Are you okay with leaving your post like that?
はい、現在サポートセンターに職務規定特例第12条第4項に基づく行動指示要求を発信していますが、受講されませんので、以降は私が独自の判断により行動することになります。
Awesome. She clearly asserted.
これも何かの縁ということで、同行してよろしいでしょうか。
I sighed again. It seems that I had underestimated her yet again. Or it may well have been that I had forever disrupted a garden that heretofore been maintained in exquisite balance.
同行してよろしいでしょうか。
Of course, I shouldn't have let her accompany me. I should have freed myself from the grasp of this broken robot and returned to the solitary life of a junker. However, her artificial optic resin eyes were sharply focused and gazing at me intently. My mind had been an empty desert, a clattering graveyard of hollow sounds. Indeed, that had been the world in which I'd walked in, until now. But now, grains of stardust were shining like a stain undying on an imperishably dark heart of hearts that had long been without a single decent thought. Damn it! Seized by an impulse that I myself could not fathom, I armed my grenade launcher. How much longer will your batteries last?
はい、現状の業務モードでしたら、あと4日活動できます。
Alright, that works for me, let's go. How fast can you walk?
最大歩行速度は平坦路で時速 8km となっています。
Yeah, that seems about on par with what we have nowadays. How do you plan on returning?
はい、現在測地衛星による位置情報が取得できませんが、現在位置から半径 3km 以内でしたら、どの場所からでも単独で帰着が可能です。
Will you be okay in the rain?
はい、私の筐体は第2種業務防水仕様となっておりまして。
You told me this earlier. So you're saying that the rain has never caused you to stop moving or anything like that, yeah?
はい、雨天下での行動に問題はありません。
That works for me. Although she spoke with such confidence, the rain that fell now was completely different from the rain that fell 30 years ago. This whole Class 2 waterproofing thing was dubious as well.
同行してよろしいでしょうか。
Alright, pack up your shit, let's go. Finally, I answered her. Do as you wish.
ありがとうございます。
She bowed deeply to me.
それでは参りましょう。
Sounds like a plan. Let's go. Saying this, she produced something from inside as a reception desk.
どうぞ。
Oh, there it is. The thing that she was presenting to me, with a huge smile on her face, was that self-styled bouquet again. Just when I thought I'd seen the last of it, there it was again. What the hell is this?
お客様の花束です。大切にお預かりしていましたので。
So she would not be satisfied unless I took a souvenir with me after all. Was that it? I don't recall asking you to safekeep it for me.
はい。投影室内にお落としになられたようでしたので、こちらで保管しておきました。
I didn't forget it.
はい、そうなんですか。
She replied thus, but her facial expression obviously told me that she understood nothing.
どうぞご安心ください。投影中にお荷物をお預かりするのは無料サービスとなっておりますので。
I was inside again. Not at her kindness, but at the ways that I was caving in. Since you have it, do whatever you want with it, actually. I don't really want it right now.
わかりました。お客様のお車まで私が責任を持ってお持ちしますので。
She responded thus to what I said. I couldn't help but feel that her ability to interpret my words to her utmost favor was quite incredible.
それから今日の天気ですと傘が必要ですね。ただいま用意します。
As she briefly laid the bouquet down and turned to go back to the counter, I grabbed her and stopped her. If I allowed her to have her way any longer, I'd probably end up carrying everything and the kitchen sink. Forget about the umbrella. I'll lend you a jacket. I helplessly opened my backpack and took out my spare waterproof cloak.
いえ、そのようなわけには参りません。
If you're going to come with me, at least listen to what I have to say, okay? I don't have... Come on, put it on. I thrust the dirty cloak at her. Yeah, I guess there's probably no such thing as washing machines in this world, so... Still, you couldn't at least, like, hand-washed it?
はい、それではお言葉に甘えまして。
She bowed low as if she were receiving a medal from me. And you know what? I think that's a good place to leave things off. I think we might finally be in the home stretch, so I'm just gonna cut this off to the next thing. So, till I see you again, this has been your German boy. Auf Wiedersehen!